begin the third quarter. John Beltran and Dave Urich back from Yuma High School, where the Beat Diggers are in the lead 15-10. Brush will receive the second half kickoff. And Dave, how critical is this opening drive towards setting the table for the second half for the Beat Diggers?
Well, I just talked to Coach Swint and Coach Mills when they were walking through the press box here and going back up on top into the crow's nest. And the one thing Coach Swint said was they need to drive the ball down and score here and then have one big stop, and then they feel pretty confident that this game might be over.
Well, they did that against University. They did it against Weld Central. They eventually did it against Platte Valley. Did it against Eaton, even though they had a pretty good first half against them. Emulated that against Roosevelt. So the I already mentioned Roosevelt, but I was looking for another one of their opponents where the Beat Diggers did turn it on in that third quarter. Nonetheless, Brush is looking for their first double-digit lead of the night. They led 8-0, 8-3, trailed 10-8, and now up 15-10. Drew Okeson running towards about the 5 or 10 yard line. He'll receive this kickoff if it's deep enough from Luis Yanez. And Yuma right now with everything to play for over the final 24 minutes.
Yuma's coming out. They're in a huddle for their kickoff, and the ball's sitting by the tee, and they can come out of this and just onside kick it right here. So all the Diggers are all bunched up by the 50-yard line, and all the Yuma Indians are bunched up right behind the tee, and they're looking like they're going to have an onside kick here.
Well, let's see if it's legit. Nope. Doesn't appear they'll have that onside kickoff. I think Yanez will boot it away, at least based on this formation. The left-footed kicker into that football. It's going to be a short kick. Okeson has it at the 16 to the 20, straight ahead to the 30-yard line. A seamed at the 34 before he's tackled right there. And Yanez, the kicker, makes the play along with Lucas Lubers. And let's see if the Beat Diggers can control this football and do what they did to virtually end the opening half as they start from their 34.
Okeson sure is fun to watch return because he gets up such a head of steam, and right there it looked like if he could have just broke one tackle, he might have been off to the races.
First and 10 at the 34-yard line for the Beat Diggers, up by 5 to begin the third quarter. Dreitz will hand it off, and right up the gut is Aaron Quinlan. He's got a short gain of around 2 as he was grabbed around the waist. Combining on the play, Wilson Henry, and Tyler Durland. Second down and 8.
Yuma came out in a little bit of a different defensive look. They only had 5 guys up on the line of scrimmage that time compared to 6 usually in the first half.
From the 36-yard line, the Beat Diggers with a second down and 8 as Melendez is the receiver to the left. The Beat Diggers operating on the right side of the field. Quinlan and Bass are split, and the handoff to Quinlan right up the gut, now to his right across the 40 to the 42. And he's got a gain of 6. Darren Spencer makes the tackle. It'll be third down and 2 for Brush.
Yuma's still doing a pretty good job of slowing up that trap. I watched Alexander there from his guard position on the left side there. He went to pull over here and trap, and Quinlan got there before he got there to make the block, so Quinlan had to run it outside that trap block to make it work, and it was effective, but I know Brush would sure like to make that thing work.
From the 42, third and a long 2 in motion to the left, Raul Sanchez. Dreitz this time on the counter to Bass. Hit at the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose a yard. Back to the 41. Andrew Terrell with the excellent penetration. The Beat Diggers are stopped. 4th and 3. They'll be forced to punt.
They just tried to fake that trap and run off tackle, and that was the same play that worked for about 80 yards or 55 yards for Bass in the first half for a touchdown. That time Yuma was wise to it.
Boy, the Indians got exactly what they wanted. The Beat Diggers holding the football for less than 2 minutes to begin the third quarter. And Zach Diaz and Lucas Lubers back to receive. There's a snap to Dreitz. Pressure coming, and it's blocked! And is the ball going to be picked up by Lepsock? It is, and he's tackled at the 27-yard line by Dustin Bass. And that one was blocked by John Cavender. Boy, they nearly had a block in the opening half, and this time it did happen. And Yuma in outstanding field position.
Yuma sets up all these guys. They set up about 4 guys in between the guards for Brush, and they send them rushing right past. They got like 4 guys to run past two guys that are blocking, and it's just too much pressure for two people to take care of. And Dustin Bass wasn't able to hold them all back. He's the last one that's there to make a block and try to prevent the punt from getting blocked, and it just didn't happen.
Yuma looking for the lead, 1st and 10, back to throw. Terrell looking deep over the middle. The pass is going to be complete at around the 10-yard line. A diving reception for Darren Spencer. That's a gain of 17 and a first down. Boy, it fluttered out there, and I thought a beat digger might have been able to make a play, but no avail. The Indians execute. 1st down and 10. That ball just inside the Brush 11-yard line. Terrell operating out of that double wing formation. Drops the football. It's loose. And let's see who's got it. It is still loose at around the 8. I think Yuma has retained possession. Or do the beat diggers have it? No, Brush has it. Brush has it. And I'm not sure if Roy Grauberger recovered it, but Terrell really never got complete control of the football.
Yeah, all I could see, it looked like Terrell pulled out maybe a little bit too soon and left the football there on the ground, and all those Brush defenders were flying all over the place once they saw that, and they were fighting for the football and had to get physical to recover that fumble.
Boy, the beat diggers have got to capitalize on this break. They've got it at their own 8-yard line, 1st down and 10. Dreitz this time will hand it off to Quinlan, running off right tackle back towards the middle. He's down after a gain of 3. Driven back over there by John Cavender. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Dave, this is the drive. Rush has got to use up at least 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's important that they just get a first down in my book, because I think they're back there backed up against their own goal line, and they got to make sure that if they do have to punt, they don't have to punt it very far, because their punt game hasn't been very good tonight.
It's been horrible. In fact, 2nd down and 7. The handoff to Quinlan running left, and he tries to drive across that 10-yard line, does to around maybe the 13. And he was wrestled down to the ground on the far sideline. Gain of 2. It'll be 3rd down and 5. So a big play coming up as Darren Spencer makes the tackle.
Quinlan has 109 yards on 12 carries. So isn't it funny how a new guy every week's the workhorse? And Quinlan's been the workhorse before this year, but we haven't seen him be the lead workhorse for a while.
3rd down and 5 from the 13-yard line. Dreitz this time, bootlegs right, has a huge seam to the outside, a 1st down to the 20, and he stumbles at around the 30-yard line and runs into the back of one of his teammates, but it's a 1st down for Nick Dreitz off that excellent gallop of 17 yards. And let me tell you, if he didn't stumble, he might still be running.
You know, the guy he ran into was Ryan Nichols, his right guard, and he's the one that's got to pull on that bootleg and make some big blocks. I watched Spooner have a huge block there, and Nichols as well, so a really good job there by all those diggers, making sure they're picking up the blocks, and a good job there by Dreitz making a big run and getting them out of the dungeon down there.
8 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Brush leading Yuma 15-10. 1st and 10 from their own 30. The counter to Bass, and he's hit at the line of scrimmage. Might have got half a yard, but Tyler Derland is there to make the play along with Nathaniel Pletcher. 2nd down and 10.
Seems like Yuma's paying a lot of attention to where Dustin Bass is at tonight, because it doesn't seem like he gets except for that very first run, he really hasn't had a chance to have any open space to run in. He's only got 63 yards tonight. 55 of those were on the very first carry of his on the game, so really only 8 yards since that first carry.
It'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 30. Let's see the beat diggers pass out of here. Dreitz is back to throw, looking, backpedaling, rolling to his right, buying time, throwing. That pass is intercepted at the 45-yard line, juggled down the sideline, knocked out of bounds. We might have a late hit as well as Ryan Nichols makes the tackle on that INT by Ryan Lepsack. No flag, although he was clearly tackled into the Yuma bench. And the Indians come up with a big turnover and take over in beat digger territory.
It was just overthrown, and the Yuma kid, Ryan Lepsack, he did a good job of making the catch, and if he wouldn't have caught it, it would have bounced right off his chest, so it's a good thing he caught it and returned it, because he was right there in front of his own coaches.
1st and 10 Indians at the beat digger 30-yard line. And again, they trail by only 5 points. And Yuma had the ball as deep as the 8-yard line before they fumbled on their last possession. 1st and 10, Terrell with a pitch left to Spencer looking for a seam, and he's tackled after a gain of 2. Isaac Rodriguez and Adam Waters in on the play. No matter what your loan needs, stop by High Plains Bank at 502 Central Avenue in Wiggins today. Also inquire about checking and savings accounts as well as CDs at High Plains Bank in Wiggins.
Well, it sure is a physical game out there. I see a lot of pushing and shoving and a lot of blocking and tackling right up to the whistle. You can tell there's a few tempers flaring.
On 2nd down and 8 from the Brush 28-yard line. Out of the double wing, rolling to his right is Terrell looking to throw. That pass is incomplete. Roy Grauberger pokes it away at the 20-yard line. Intended for Luis Yanez. And it'll be 3rd down and 8 to go at the 28-yard line. I was surprised that Yuma went to the air, but then again, the last time they threw was a 17-yard completion on their previous drive.
Yeah, they've only gone 1 for 5, and they've also had an interception in there, so I'm sure that they're not happy having to throw the ball either.
6:31 to go, third quarter. Brush leading Yuma 15-10. 3rd down and 8 Indians from the Beat Diggers' 28-yard line. And this time, Terrell, the option right. He'll pitch it to Lubers. He's got a seam to the 25. Back to the inside to around the 20-yard line. Boy, very close to a first down. We'll give him 8 yards. If he's got the first down, he's got it by a couple of inches.
Probably getting first down. It's going to be close.
It was a nice pitch on a nice option there for Yuma, and the Diggers just weren't there. Nobody flew up there to take the pitch, man. He had all kinds of running room.
Isaac Rodriguez makes the tackle, but the Indians again threatening to take the lead. They had it briefly in the opening half. It was a 10-8 advantage before Aaron Quinlan scored from 80 yards out. 1st and 10 from the 20. 6:05 to go in the third. And Terrell has the football, hands it off to Spencer. He's hit right at the line of scrimmage, grabbed around the waist, and taken down by Adam Waters along with Isaac Rodriguez and Nick Greitz.
Really, that last option play is about the only running play that's really hurt the Diggers for quite a while. Rush is still holding their running backs to 34 yards on 9 carries, 24 yards on 10 carries, so really 2 to 3 yard averages there for Yuma.
2nd down and 10. Yuma at the Brush 20. Just a 5-point lead for the Beat Diggers. On 2nd down, Terrell with the option right. There's the pitch right to Lubers. That time is going to be nailed in the backfield and brought down. Nick Greitz makes the play, and Zeb Tedford cleans it up, and that's a loss of 4.
Yep, that time the Diggers had plenty of guys to tackle the pitch man. There's about 3 of them out there to corral him and tackle him, and they got to do that because that Lubers kid, he's pretty quick.
Officially a loss of 3, 3rd down and 13 from the 23. And keep in mind, Yanez already has a field goal in this game. It was from 29 yards away, so I would think that this is probably 4-down territory, and the field goal would not be attempted unless they get to around the 14 or 15-yard line. On 3rd down and 13 from the 23, the misdirection to Lubers, and he's going to be brought down at around the 20-yard line. Had a short seam back to the right side. Cameron Alexander was there to make the tackle, so they get the 3 yards back. 4th down and 10 from the 20, and let's see what the Indians decide to do. I would think at this point they're probably going to go for it. It'd be a 37-yard field goal.
Yeah, I don't see them throwing the black kicking pad out onto the field, and all their players are looking at their wrist because they're all wearing those little notebooks on their wrist to tell them what play they're going to run, so they're going offense.
On 4th and 10 from the 20, Terrell is going to hand it off to Lubers, and he's going to get nothing, maybe a yard. Boy, he ran into a brick wall of Beat Diggers, and a gain of 1, and that's it. Boy, Ryan Nichols was one of those Beat Diggers forming that wall, and Brush takes over at their own 19.
Ryan Nichols is a big wall himself, and he just does a good job there on that defensive line and just played some really consistent football for Brush on both sides of the ball.